the big one.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Eric here with Switch Adapted Toys, and today I'm really excited to show you our latest version of our Mega Switch. This is our version 2 Mega Switch, and it's a great improvement from our first Switch. What we did is we moved away from the mechanical keyboard switches. We just kind of added to the expense of building your own Switch, and instead we used 3D printed springs and a limit switch in the middle. And this limit switch is much better at providing power for more kind of power demanding toys, like things like motors and blowers and stuff like that. So it's a really great upgrade. We've tested this switch and it lasted over 300,000 presses.
That's incredible! It's gonna be some kind of a record!
It took about 3 days and it was still going. We basically stopped just because it was taking so long. 300,000 presses is a lot of presses, and that's even with the 3D printed springs. So it's a really robust switch, and it's a great upgrade from our version 1. So you can get our files off of our website, www.switchtoys.org, or on MakerWorld. They're free both places. The files will include a 3MF file, which is kind of the preferred way to print these. It kind of includes all of the settings and all the layout and everything in your slicing software. So you can basically just load that file and print it. But it will also include the STL files, just in case your 3D printer doesn't support a 3MF file. And I'll show you kind of how to set that up kind of briefly here in a second. But before we get into it, Switch Adapted Toys is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our mission is to make play possible for kiddos of all abilities. We do that by teaching people how to take toys off the shelf, essentially rewire them to make them more inclusive for children with disabilities. We also provide 3D printed switch buttons that you can plug into an adapted toy, and you can save hundreds of dollars by doing it yourself. So I encourage you to check out our website, www.switchtoys.org, if you want to find out more. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over to the computer, and I'll show you how we've got our settings set up, and we'll get these things printed and get this thing built. All right, so this is what it's going to look like when you load in that .3mf file. All your parts should be separated out on different build plates, and basically all the settings should be included. So you could essentially just hit print and print this switch as is. If you're using the STL files, you will need to kind of manually set things up, and I'm going to kind of briefly touch on some of the settings that we use. So for all of our parts, we use a layer height of 0.16 millimeters. And our infill density, we use 15%, and we use a grid pattern. That's across the board, that's what we use. We're also printing with a 0.4 millimeter nozzle, and we're printing with PLA, which you could use PETG if you wanted to, but PLA, honestly, it works just fine. So let's talk about the top first. The top, we like to print with supports because we print it in this orientation where it's right side up. You could, in theory, flip this around 180 degrees, so you're putting it upside down, and you would eliminate the need for a lot of supports. What can happen then is that this rounded edge kind of gets jagged and rough, and for some kiddos with sensory sensitivities, they might not like that very much. So we always like to print it right side up, and we use tree supports to support the roof, the top of the top. We use, let's go into here, we use tree supports, and we use slim tree supports, and it turns out just fine. It does create a little bit of waste, but these are really easy to remove, and we think it's worth it to get that smooth finish on the top. So that's pretty much it for the top. Let's go over to the base. Now the base, we don't use any supports on the base. You really don't need them. And so this is pretty much good to go as long as you've got your infill density at 15% and your layer height at 0.16 millimeters. I mean, you could, I guess, in theory, play with that a little bit, but there's no real special settings. So let's go to all the other pieces. We've got our ring here, which is what will hook into the top and thread onto the base. We do use supports for that, for these little overhangs, because you do want these nice and crisp. So we just use standard supports here. For the springs, we print all these on their sides, and for these is like the top springs. You might need to use a brim on these really thin parts of the spring. Our printer does fine, but if you print them and your printer struggles to print them, you can add a brim to this, and that might help with the printing there. And then lastly, we use supports on the clip here. This clip, you also might be tempted to rotate at 90 degrees, but doing so is going to drastically reduce the strength of these posts, which are pretty critical. So we just print it like this, and these posts have been plenty strong for us. We've never had any break or anything like that. It does require a little bit of supports, but all these supports are just really easy to break off, and it's really not that big a deal. It's not that much support. Doesn't really add any extra time really to your print. So I would just set it up this way and print everything out, and once you've got everything, we'll get to assembling it. So I'm gonna go ahead and print all this, and I'll meet you back at the table and we'll get things built. Okay, so we got all of our pieces printed. Now what we need to do is we need to put the threaded ring on, like, inside the top. So you're just gonna line up kind of the notches on the top with the pegs on the ring, and there's enough flex here just to kind of flex it into place and just kind of push it into place until it snaps, just like that. All right, so now this is ready. Now we need to start wiring our switch. First thing that we're going to want to do is we want to thread our headphone jack wire through the hole of the switch. Don't forget to do this. If you just start soldering this to the switch without threading it through the hole, it won't work. You won't be able to close it up. I've done it. So just remember to feed it through the hole before we solder anything. Okay, now we can put our switch spring in place, and it just goes into this rectangle here at the bottom. And you just set it in there, and it just presses down, and it will stay in place. All right, so now we need to strip back some of the casing on the headphone jack wires. So I'm just gonna use some wire strippers, and I'm gonna use my 22 gauge hole here, and I'm just gonna clamp down on the wire and just kind of pull off the tip. You don't need too much exposed, maybe like a 1/2 inch at the most. So this is now good, and I'm going to use some helping hands, and that's going to just kind of help hold everything in place. You don't need these, but they are helpful. So what I want to do is I want to get some solder on the wires before I solder it to the switch. I just find it makes it a lot easier. So basically what I want to do is I want to get some solder on these wires before I actually go to solder it to the switch. So solder is just a metal that melts very easily, and all I want to do is I just want to get like a ball of solder on the tips of my wire. So I'm just going to kind of use my soldering iron to kind of heat up the wire, and then I'll feed in my solder, and I'll just kind of keep feeding it until I have kind of like a ball of solder on my wire, just like that. And we're going to do that for both wires. That's fine. All right, so now let's talk about the switch for a second. There are 3 prongs on our limit switch, and what we want to do is just solder our wires to the 2 prongs that are the closest to the actual button. Okay, so now we can go ahead and solder our wire to the switch, and all I'm going to do is just put the wire on that lead and then just heat up the solder so that it melts onto that lead. And it really doesn't take a lot. It melts really easily, and you can kind of give it a tug and just make sure that it's attached. And now I'm going to do the same thing for the other wire. All right, so now we can get our clip attached to our limit switch, and there is a little notch on the top of the clip, and that little notch needs to line up with the actual button on the limit switch. So just make sure that it's oriented properly, and then the posts on the clip will fit into the holes on the switch, and it just slides right on. All right, so everything's really dark, so it's gonna kind of be hard to show you how to clip this on, but I'm gonna do my best. So I've kind of folded my wires out to the side because our wires are gonna follow the path of this little engraved line that's in the bottom of the base. And to attach your clip, we're gonna attach kind of one side, then the other. So I'm gonna push down on the spring and just try to kind of get one half of my clip kind of attached to this center beam post. I don't know what you would call it, but it's just kind of, you press down, get one side attached, and then just press on the other side and it will snap into place. So what you want is for the switch to be able to kind of bounce up and down a little bit. That'll make it so if someone would really like crank down on the top, that it kind of gives a little bit and it doesn't damage the switch or the top or anything like that. All right, so let's just go ahead and finish our wire off here. We need to prevent this from just being able to be pulled and the whole thing to disconnect. So if you look at the bottom, there's this little groove, this little zigzag pattern, and that's our cable capture slot. So we're gonna kind of fish our cord through that zigzag, and that will help prevent somebody from just pulling on the cord and disconnecting everything. So I'm just kind of working my way around, pushing the cord into that slot. Again, it's going to be hard for you to see right now, but I'll show you once I got it. There we go, just like that. Now, if I pull on this cord, it's not going anywhere. If you really want to add a little extra security, you could put a little CA glue or super glue and kind of glue it into that slot. But it's pretty darn good, just like that. Okay. So now we need to install the 3 springs that help support the weight of the top. And these just go into these 3 rectangles here at the bottom. Now, you don't want to press down on it by the actual spring itself. The base has a little bit of an extra piece here, and that's where you really want to use to press it down. And I don't know if it really matters or not, but I always try to have the non-curved edge kind of facing out, because I feel like it's just easier for the top to move. Does it really matter all that much? Probably not, but that's just how I choose to do it. These just fit into place, and it's a pretty tight, snug fit. So I kind of use both fingers, both hands, to kind of press that down into place. Okay, now that we've got all 3 springs installed, we can install our top. And on the top just threads on, but once you kind of get it started, what you want to do is kind of pull the top up. That way we're not kind of twisting those springs as we twist it down. So I'm just going to kind of pull my top up and then rotate it until it stops, just like that. And our switch is complete. Okay, so let me get a little tester that I've made, and just to show you that it works. This would be the point where you want to plug it into toy and make sure that everything works. But let me get that real quick. All right, so I got my little tester plugged in. This light should light up when I press the button. There we go. And you can tell like it activates with really, light force. It doesn't take a lot. Off-center presses still activated. You could hammer down on this thing and it's not going to hurt it. So Mega Switch version 2, it's a really great upgrade. We got rid of all those mechanical keyboard switches, which really cut down on the cost. And honestly, 300,000 presses is a lot of presses. So it should last you a very long time. And if for some reason those springs wear out, they're really easy to print some more and replace them. You'd be shocked if you could reach 300,000. That was like pressing the button straight for like 3 days. So if you like this video, if you find it helpful, make sure you hit the like button and hit subscribe to stay up to date on all our latest videos. Remember, you can pick up our files on our website, www.switchtoys.org, and on MakerWorld. And I just want to take a second and say thank you to all of our supporters. Switch Adapted Toys is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we can't make these resources without the support of our community. So to those of you who've chosen to support us, thank you. It means the world to us. If you want to find out more about Switch Adapted Toys, you could do so on our website, www.switchtoys.org. And if you want to pick up this Mega Switch, we do sell them on our website. They'll be ready to go, or if you just want the kit, we sell the 3D printed parts as a kit, everything that you need so that you can do it yourself, just in case you don't have a 3D printer but you still want to do it yourself. All right, well, that's pretty much it. I'm Eric with Switch Adapted Toys, and we'll see you next time.
Switch Adapted Toys, making play possible.